we can create any one of the three varieties of the fifth, the perfect, the diminished, or the augmented, starting on any one of the 12 notes of the chromatic scale, or any one of the black or white keys of the piano keyboard. Let me show you how that's done. And we're going to start with the simplest version of this, and that is the perfect fifth. How do you make a perfect fifth starting on any one of the 12 chromatic notes? Well, there are two things you need to do, or two questions that you need to ask. The first question that you need to ask is, how many letter names do I need to travel? Let me give you an example, and I'm going to start with an easy one. In fact, so easy that we actually already know the answer to this one. Suppose I want to make a perfect fifth starting on F. And I'm just going to write a P5 down here to remind myself that this is going to be a perfect fifth. And I'm also just going to remind myself that a perfect fifth has 7 half steps. So the first thing I want to do, the first question I want to answer is, how many letter names do I need to travel? Well, that's pretty easy. In a fifth, we need to travel 5 letter names. So let's do that. F1, G2, A3, B4, and C5. That means that C is going to be a fifth above F. And we knew that already. That was pretty easy. But what we don't know, or at least what we can't take for granted, is that C is a perfect fifth, that it is exactly 7 half steps above F. So now we're going to check that out. So let's go down to our keyboard here, and let me put the F where the F is going to be, and let me put the C where the C is going to be, right here. And let's count it out. So F0, F sharp 1, G2, G sharp 3, A4, A sharp 5, B6, and C7. So it turns out that, in fact, F to C is a perfect fifth, because it is a fifth, F, G, A, B, C, and it has 7 half steps that we just counted out. Now again, that was an easy one because we had already discovered the answer to this one in the previous video, but I just wanted to take us through the steps to see how that works. Let's try a slightly more difficult one. Let's try this starting from the note E flat. E flat. So I'm going to write an E flat right here. So we're now starting on a chromatic note. We're going to start on this E flat right here. But even though we're starting on an accidental, even though we're starting on a chromatic note, we are still going to follow these 2 steps. Step 1, how many letter names? Well, I'm starting on an E. But wait, you say, you're actually starting on an E flat. It is true I am starting on an E flat, but right now, when we're dealing with letter names, or to use the more technical phrase, diatonic intervals, we don't care about any accidentals on the letter name. So we don't care if it's an E sharp, an E flat, or an E natural. They are all, for this purpose, a variety of E. So that E flat, for the moment, is irrelevant to us. So E1, F2, G3, A4, B5. So we need to go to some variety of a B, because a B is 5 letter names above E. Even though it's an E flat, we don't care about that flat when we're counting letter names. So we've answered, I'm just going to write that B up there because we know the answer is going to be some variety of a B. Now we have to go to question number 2. How many half steps? How many half steps do we need? Well, we need 7 half steps to make a perfect fifth. How many half steps do we actually have, though? Let's count that out. So we're starting on the E flat. We're going to end on a B. How many half steps from E flat to B? Well, E flat, 0, E natural, 1, F2, F sharp, 3, G4, G sharp, 5, A6, A sharp, 7, and B8. So we actually have here a fifth that has 8 half steps. And actually, remember, we saw a fifth with 8 half steps, and we called that an augmented fifth. But we don't want an augmented fifth. We want a perfect fifth. We need only 7 half steps. So how are we going to arrange, how are we going to keep this to be some kind of an E going to some kind of a B, but keep this at only 7 half steps instead of 8? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take this B and we're going to move it down. We're going to bring it down by 1 half step. And what does that give us? Well, if we bring a B down 1 half step, we end up with a B flat. And let's just count that out, just to make sure that the B flat is actually 7 half steps above the E flat. So E flat 1, E flat 0, E natural 1, F2, F sharp 3, G4, G sharp 5, A6, and B flat 7. And there we have it. We've just created a perfect fifth above E flat. Now, one of the places that you can get in trouble here is with this. We have another way that we could talk about, or another way that we could spell that B flat, don't we? We could call that B flat an A sharp, right? B flat, we know that B flat and A sharp are enharmonically the same, meaning we're playing the same exact note on the piano keyboard, even though we spell it differently. So does that mean that E flat to A sharp is also a perfect fifth? Because look, if I think about this as A sharp, let's just call this A sharp, then yes, indeed, I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 half steps. But let's go back to question 1. How many letter names have I traveled if I spell this interval as E flat to A sharp? Well, let's count it out. Let me go back up here to my letters. So we want to know what we're going from some kind of an E to some kind of an A. Let's count it out. E1, F2, G3, A4. So even though I have the right number of half steps, 0 to 7, I have the wrong diatonic interval, or the wrong distance in letter names. I only have the interval of a fourth. We'll learn in an upcoming video exactly what that is, but this is not a perfect fifth. We have to spell it exactly correctly. We have to get the letter names right, and we have to get the half steps right. So we have to think about everything on these 2 dimensions of how many letter names and how many half steps. So that's a perfect fifth. Now, in the next video, we're going to check out the diminished fifth and the augmented fifth.